I think I can skip that. Hey, it's the Expert Layman, and this is Grinding Meaning number 22, or 23, Displays of Dominance, Bullies, and the 3-Strike Rule. I'm up in Netherstorm at the moment. Let me take just a second to see if I am audible. Good, I am. Yeah, I think I might be giving up on guilds in World of Warcraft Classic. Because the similarities between them, despite the claims that they aren't that way, where should I start? Well, the last stream, Toxic Raiding Guilds, didn't think about where I should start here. I'll just start off with the event. Maybe I'll talk about Rocket League first. Maybe I should switch over to the other. Yeah, that's probably better. I have a 3-strike rule, and it actually originated in Rocket League before I was better at predicting toxicity. To where, if you're trying to do something, and oops, you're trying to do something, and a series of oopsies occur. Miscommunications, errors, changes in plans. Once you've hit like 3 that are, fairly unlikely, it's probably not the end, and they're probably not accidents. Especially if there's, like, no apology. And you're just expected to eat the inconvenience. And it's just not worth your time. Also, it's not healthy for yourself to... How did I put this? I had a good phrasing for this. Basically, it's not good to allow yourself to be taken advantage of, and it makes you like yourself less. And a lot of times, if there's something that we want, we're willing to sacrifice that, but it's really bad for you. So today the 3 strikes were somebody in guild wants to run Black Morass normal. I have a couple of characters that need that, mostly on my Warlock, and I said, yes, anybody need it? Like me. And I get in. And you should also know that there's been like a guild merger, which doesn't really go well. And I've decided, in the past, I haven't referenced what guilds, but I don't see any particular reason to protect these people anymore. So I'm going to show you something interesting. So somebody was showing signs, and it's someone I'd run into in voice who just was taking every opportunity to try to take like little digs at me in kind of a bitch way. Like, I put a lot into this spec, and it doesn't appear to be anybody else trying to do what I'm doing. And said, oh, he's just using some other person's build I'd never heard of. It's like, no, this is definitely different. And apparently I was just supposed to bow and be like, oh, yes, sir. And I don't do that. So apparently he's had it in for me ever since I failed to take a knee at the proper moment. So I decided to see, okay, what is this person's rank? I was like, oh, co-GM. That sounds pretty important. Until you realize that there are 14 co-GMs now. It was some kind of deal they made merging the guilds. I mean, like, it's literally giving somebody a vice presidency that doesn't mean anything. That is probably not a good sign. So I said I wanted to. Let's go back. So I said, sure. And I get in, and there's a person there, and then this guy joins. on one of his alts. His priest, which display some knowledge about how something works in front of somebody who knows they don't really understand it, and they get real insecure. And rather than dealing with their own issues, they would rather push it onto somebody else. So, get in the group, and I'm like, I'm trying to be conciliatory. I realize, hey, there's 2 different characters I can use this on. And I see that they don't have a tank, so I'm like, hey, if you can't find a tank, let me know and I'll switch over. And immediately tells me, oh, switch. I was like, well, that wasn't really what I didn't say this, but I was like, that wasn't really what I offered. I was offering if you couldn't find one. And clearly in the 10 seconds between what I said and what you said, you could not have done a very thorough search for a tank. But I'm trying to be nice, so I'm like, okay. So I hop over on my tank. And I get over there and I send him a message. And I wait. And I wait. Almost a full minute goes by. It's like, oh, no, I got a tank. Like, okay, I guess that means I should go back. So I go back in my Warlock. And he doesn't actually have a tank. What he's hoping to do is to rope one of the other co-GMs. And apparently the guild leader changed since I arrived. But somehow that hasn't been talked about outside of officer chat. And he's going to try to get this other co-GM to tank. It's like, okay. And he kind of seems like he wants to take a DPS character. And it's like, oh god, this is 2 already, you know? Like that's not a good sign. And then he wants to take his mage. Oh, but his mage hasn't done Old Hillsbred yet. And it's like, okay, we're doing Old Hillsbred and then we're doing Black Morass. And I'm like, wait, what? It's like, yeah, we're doing this. It's like, yeah, we're doing this, or we're doing both. I'm like, okay. And it's like, that's 3 strikes. I just drop out. And there was a little petty crap in guild, like, oh, now we need another DPS. Which he didn't even really need, because now they need a tank. But he didn't want to miss the opportunity to take a little dig. And then I stayed on just to watch how things played out. And not only did the person need Old Hillsbred, they also had to do the walk around, which apparently got screwed up somehow. And then they get in and realize that, you know, they don't actually have a tank. And I heard them talking in guild about how, you know, like everybody was like taking turns tanking, like it wasn't a mess. And yeah, that's the other thing about the 3 strikes. It's like, if there's 3 already, this is probably just the beginning. And it's just unhealthy for you to allow yourself to be treated that way. And I'm really wondering if this is just the state of guilds in World of Warcraft Classic. And you always have to wonder about somebody who wants a position of authority. Because it's like, why? And I run into this at my job, to where, you know, it's a union environment, and you see people, you know, the worst job in the building is the line supervisor, because they're just caught between this insane spinning clown world of office management that is just unbelievably detached from reality. And then you actually have the people on the ground trying to make the stuff happen, and these guys are like the clutch in like a teenage boy's, you know, car, like that. They just tear through them. And the amazing thing is, people who have worked on the line and they know what this is like will still choose to become supervisors. It's like this need for status at all costs. And then they will have an absolutely miserable time of it, and typically won't last very long. And it's like, how did you not know this was coming? My explanation is that some people just have this incredible compulsion to assume a position of authority. And it's just kind of sad. And World of Warcraft, like raiding guilds, is just like, it starts to play out like high school stuff. Like, I've already seen like some of the co-GMs like screwing with each other's notes, which that's not a good sign. That's what I saw in a merger in World of Warcraft Classic, where our guild had been bouncing off Ragnaros for, I kid you not, for like 6 months. Could not get it to work. And then there was like huge drama in this higher end raiding guild, so they merged. But then basically the higher end raiding guild players were just so much more dominant. They basically took it over and harassed people out, and basically we did get Ragnaros, but like things fell apart not too long after that because of just so much infighting. And you have to realize when someone gravitates towards an environment that has a particular flavor, they like that flavor. So if the position is going to require like lots of drama, it's probably what they're there for. This is kind of a spur of the moment stream, but I guess I would advocate that unless you're a person that actually wants drama, avoid positions of authority. Like, who wants to be responsible when you're trying to have fun, you know? Like, I don't assume positions of responsibility lightly or often, because when I do, I take it seriously. That's when I'm tanking, I like if I let the healer like get hit, or God forsake, like the healer gets killed because I screwed up, I don't feel right for like a day. Because that was my main job. Like, I try to keep the DPS alive, but that healer is your lifeblood, and you got to take care of that guy. And when you fail, you basically fail at your role. But it seems that it seems like there's like a week where people are nice, and then they start trying to feel out whether they can, act out displays of dominance over you. And if it doesn't go the way they like, they start trying to manufacture situations to try to put you in your place. I think the best example was on the last stream when I was talking about when basically all 4 people were there to try to screw with me while I was tanking. And I hit the node and I asked if anybody had mining, and somebody else said, yeah. It's like, well, I just want to get a point off this thing. And then right afterwards, one of the people, like, I don't know where you even get the balls to do this, but it's like, yeah, I'm going to need that. I'm a jewel crafter for the guild. It's like he literally was asking me to trade him what I got off the node. And he didn't even hit the node. Probably wasn't even a miner. It's just that when you're that kind of psychology, you're just like, you need it. And that's essentially how you reward your officers, by letting them be shitty to people. Because what else are you going to offer them? It's not, if you had the skills to progress, you'd be progressing. When you're stuck, you got to get your juices flowing in other ways. And when you have a whole bunch of people that are gravitating towards roles of authority, like there's probably more officers than like non-officers right now. Like, it's crazy. Because like you still have the officers. Well, maybe I should. We got the guildmaster and the 14 co-GMs, and it looks like another 10 to 15 officers, officer alts, and veterans. But I'm pretty sure if you went by, okay, I'm not sure. And they're not like clearing old characters. It looks like they've been like hemorrhaging people. And these are like people that like left the game. So essentially leaving a trail of bodies. So yeah, I think I'll stick around a bit longer. I'm just not gonna stay out of Discord. And because like I still have to get my groups from like looking for group. Like rarely is anybody running anything, and now every run will be suspect because it's probably some officer trying to display their dominance over somebody else. And if they don't have enough underlings to parasitize, they're going to start turning on each other, which seems like it's already started to happen. It's just really disappointing. On the plus side, I am having a lot of fun with my warlock. I'm not actually on my warlock right now. And just weird stuff like the guy who like engineered the drama. It's like the heroic arc stream. And I'm talking about, hey, these guys were geared and they were hitting hard. And he's like, that's not very high. Like, yeah, I think that's pretty high. It's like, no, that's crap. And it's like, you don't even know the group makeup. And when I asked him, well, how many times do you run arc? Well, I've run it twice. It's like, well, that doesn't seem like... and he didn't say he finished it twice, which I think was telling. I think he was upset that I just went in and had a no-wipe run through heroic arc. Because apparently there's some people in the guild stuck on that. Like, they can't seem to get a group that can do it, which is weird. Well, I think there's a lot of the people, like, you can gear past your ineptitude, and I think there's a lot of that going on. And then when you are pretending to be something you're not, and somebody comes along who actually does understand, it's, like, super triggering. And it challenges your identity, but, like, it's a bullshit identity because you're not actually that thing. And then you get a bunch of people who are like that, all basically LARPing as competent. And then a mildly competent person comes along and is like, end him. Oh. But, and this comes up all the time. And I think a lot of what I learned in spotting the behaviors in Rocket League has helped a great deal. Just, toxicity can't manifest in that many ways because there's no originality in decay. You know, creativity comes from a different place than, like, insecurity and anger. So when people get angry, and since it's largely unconscious, it's not like people can devise new strategies. And most of the stuff that people are pulling is stuff that was pulled on them. So it's this kind of, like, hazing thing. But when you're not competent, you can't tell the difference between you sucking and someone being a dick to you. So every time that, basically you get treated like crap because you're an idiot, you just assume, well, I'm not an idiot, they're just being assholes. So then when you get an opportunity to revisit that, it's just, I don't know, this whole toxic cycle. And I think I was just a bit optimistic. I think any guild with enough people, like the people who want, if there was a guild where, like, nobody wanted to be an officer, like, that would be amazing. But rank and status, it's very cult-like, like a lot of the behaviors. Like the effort people go through to try to manufacture situations to try to display their dominance over other people. Like, that is probably the main reason they're in the game. And that's just really sad. And when someone comes along being the thing, not necessarily skill, but like, hey, I enjoy playing, I enjoy getting better at my classes, I enjoy doing things in groups, I like succeeding, and I also like, joking around and being social. And I am actually this way. But most of the people who claim it don't really actually believe it. And they don't believe other people are like that either. They think I don't know, when you're screwed up, it's really hard to conceptualize people who aren't. Like, your theory of mind is screwed up. So even when someone's being nice, you're constantly, like, hunting for things in what they're saying that could be taken a different way. And you're constantly poking at them, and that's what, like, the run today was about. There's, like, it's trying to manufacture a win-win situation, because you just keep poking at them, and if they don't do anything, well, then you get to act out that dominance. But then if they actually push back at all, you can treat them like they're the problem. And just like in Rocket League, where somebody's, like, own goaling on you, and you're like, good game, boys, the thrower's not going to let a game happen here. The toxic people on the other team will defend the guy own goaling and start acting like you're the problem because you won't play along with this farce of a game. And it's kind of the same tribe toxic unification thing. I should have picked... I need to find something positive. Well, positive was actually I've been on a couple runs with my Warlock, and you know what? There are actually some really nice people that you meet in Looking for Group. And Looking for Group is like, I had this idea for a long time that like, you know, guild runs are better than Looking for Group runs. But that actually hasn't been my experience. And maybe if I just, you know, shut up and didn't say what I thought about things or share what I understand, drama wouldn't come as soon, but it's really just a countdown. So you may as well just be what you are, let people be what they are, react however they're going to react. There's no point in like delaying people exposing themselves for what they are. May as well just, you know, find out early. And I shouldn't give up, you know. It's like, I'm giving up on dating. There's like an analogy to giving up on dating and giving up on trying to find a non-toxic guild. There's another thing, and it's like a big red flag for me, because it's like, oh, and it's, hey, I like, you know, when I come in, I explain it. It's like, hey, I like leveling alts, and I like running 5-mans, and, you know, I enjoy running Karzan. That's kind of what I'm looking for. And then immediately there's the, hey, we're doing Karzan, and hey, we don't need anything out of there. We're doing this for you so that we can get through 25-man content. And it's like, okay, well, I'm not interested in that favor. I want to go do something that other people actually want to go do, and if there aren't people here that want to go do that, why am I here? And it's this kind of like guilting you in, like, well, we're doing this for you. It's like, well, if I'm holding my own, like if you're going and running something that you don't want to run so that you can basically bully people into doing what you want them to do later, that's really toxic. And there are some people that are like that. That, you know, they're happy to put up with it just so that they can get the gear they want. Because, you know, gear is status. It's also a way to get past your inability to play. And, you know, I was even naively thinking, man, there's a lot of older people in this guild. That's a good sign, because there'll be maturity. I could not have been more wrong. And it's weird to watch, even the people that are nice in the beginning, they start sliding into these like little digs and stuff, like, oh. And to actually hear them criticizing my old guild that I did the stream on, and then watching them slowly morph into the same thing, not because they're really changing, but because they're not putting as much effort into hiding. The problem is it's hard to put me into a category, the category they want to put me in. Like there was somebody who apparently been off from the guild for a while, and she'd had some surgeries. She didn't go into it. I didn't ask. Some of it being neurologically based, and she was kind of concerned about coming back to play because she feels kind of foggy. And you know, you don't want to be a burden. And did some, like, you know, did a few quests with her, and then she said she was kind of concerned about running Karzan. And I said, you know what? I will park. And she's a druid healer. Said, I will park my priest outside the dungeon, and I'll just go do other stuff on other characters. And if at any point you feel like, you know, you're getting overwhelmed, you can bail at any time without like negatively impacting the raid. And she seemed nice, and it's like, I like to be helpful, and like this seemed like the most helpful thing I could offer. Probably didn't make it easy to cast me into the role they wanted to cast me in. Plus, they're trying to like suck you into the whole like, well, we ran you through Karzan. It's like, well, you know, I was, it wasn't quite a carry, you know? If you're pulling your own weight, in a raid, you don't owe anybody anything. And it might almost be like better to pug. Although not being in a guild, because I got invited to the guild after I freaking demolished the meter and shattered halls on my holy priest. There was a boomkin in there who asked me if I was interested. It's like, well, I do like running Karzan and stuff. So yeah, when you're beating a mage and a druid, and they're both way better geared than you, like, Eh. I don't know. I guess I said I'm kind of circling now, but I guess it's a balance. It's just unhealthy. It's not healthy for you to allow people to treat you that way. And you know when things are going sideways, when the crap starts to pile up, when the unlikely complications that just keep putting what you wanted to do further and further away. There's a point where it stops being coincidences and it's directed. It may not be fully consciously directed, but that's not an important distinction. When people are screwed up, they hide their own intentions from themselves and are working from basically unconscious toxicity. So they don't have to consider the type of person they are. Now, if any officers end up watching this from the guild, I am expecting to get kicked. And that's fine. Well, this, I guess, has been a bit shorter. This has been Grinding Meaning number 23, Displays of Dominance, Bullies, and the 3-strike rule. I'm the Expert Layman. You all have a great day.